Welcome, everybody. Episode 4 of the Semantics podcast, where we will be talking about we have a long list this time, longer than normal. We're going to be talking about like the texture streaming and performance issues. The streamers that have been quitting. We have a really the highest profile Russian streamer is quitting, and SOMAYD, who's a French streamer. Meta versus non-meta. The boredom of Ultimatum, and maybe ways to get around that, and like what you can play or do in game to maybe like curb your enthusiasm about the game. Different builds, long-term goals, last epoch as well. We're gonna be going over some thoughts on that, and then some extra stuff. My death in solo self on hardcore. So yeah, that's episode 4 getting started. Oh, it's Rihanna? Oh no, I'm already wrong. Hold on, I gotta fix this.
Rihanna do be fine though.
Yep, yeah, not wrong. All right. So pineapple. Does it go on pizza? Let's be honest.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, it can if you want.
Anchovies?
I don't like it personally, but I don't care if people do it.
Okay. First of all,
it's very salty, bro. It's so pizza, salty. It's like, what is happening in my mouth?
Exactly. In combo with the cheese, it's too much. Arguably insane, okay?
I would actually put regular salt on my pizza before I put anchovies on my pizza.
Same. And that sounds fucking horrific. So, one more thing. You said that, you know, people are allowed to put anchovies on it. Pineapple's pretty good on pizza, right? You can't argue with it. It tastes okay. It's kind of a weird combo, but olives. People who put olives on their pizza, that is like the 9th level of hell. Absolutely.
No, I like black olives.
Under no circumstances.
Green olives are kind of iffy, but black olives are real good.
Black olives I can see, but green olives, can you imagine? Okay, for also people who take olives out of the jar.
I do that actually.
How? You just take
so
it out
like the green
green
stuffed pimentos and stuff like that. Yeah, I'll eat those out of the jar.
I'll
eat jalapenos out of the jar too.
They're not grapes. Just so you know, they are olives.
I mean, I would hope you're not putting grapes in vinegar.
They are made for garnishing. Olives are not for fucking.
I'll have a whole meal out of olives, my dude.
Vile.
I'll just have like 4 jars of olives, eat them.
Anyways, moving on to the actual topic list that I forgot to copy paste once again. Hold on, let me fix this. Go here, go here, go here. Copy and paste all of this. Big notepad. I forgot to copy and paste it into a notepad. I didn't want to like have to tab it in and out. You feel me? Okay. Problem solved and crisis averted. So, texture streaming and performance issues. Have you been having those?
Performance issues very much in Delhi. But other than that, no.
Okay, my texture streaming has been horrendous recently. I went to a map earlier today that had that automatic enfeeble curse on me. Okay, and I had a green block that I could count the pixels on floating above my head for the first like 20 seconds of the map instead of being the actual.
Well, yeah, I've
texture.
had those. Yeah.
That's a texture streaming issue, my friend.
I mean, it is, worse. But it's not. It doesn't matter, right? I know what it is. I went into the map. I know what it is.
Right, but like, it's the principle. It's not necessarily that it's causing insane issues and that it's killing your enjoyment of the game. It's more about the principle, right? Where you're like, whoa, hold on a minute.
I mean, it would be nice if it worked, yeah.
Yeah, that's all it is basically. And then a lot of the time, texture streaming issues can deal with like boss mechanics and shit too, which suck a lot. Like lots of people are still having invisible mechanics on Sirius, things like that. Super frustrating.
Yeah, I just don't really do Cyrus, so
that's fair. That's fair. Can't relate.
I kind of hate that guy.
Yeah, boss fight sucks, especially when you can't see things. Like even the audio cues don't help because you can't move. So it's cool.
I just the few times I have done him this league, I swear to God, I dashed out in time and still got hit by the beam. So it's like I don't know.
I agree. It's a little silly. It's a little silly. Okay. I'm closing some things on Notepad here. All right.
Oh no, that's our topic list, guys. We have nothing to talk about now. Bye.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. That's the whole podcast. 5 minutes in. Goodbye. Peace. Performance. Thoughts? How's the performance of the game been and in-game been?
I mean, look, outside of Delhi, I really don't have performance issues. My PC is okay. I still have a 970 though, so it's not like it's not, you know, top end by any means. I'm not like, I don't have a 3090 like MP.
Yeah.
But basically, I think performance is fine, and then you hit a Delhi mirror, and the game screams and cries.
Yes. Yep.
So maybe we just get rid of Delhi, and the game is fine again, I guess? I don't know.
Maybe we get rid of the fog and replace it with something like WoW does, or a lot of other games do, where they give you like a border that would be like a gray swirling border, which would actually look cooler than fucking my computer.
Yeah, it would
really
be okay
hard without consent.
A screen effect would be way less intensive than having fog generated on the ground constantly.
And besides, gray on gray on gray sucks a lot. That is terrible. Terribad. Not a fan.
I don't know that would get fixed with a screen effect. Like in WoW, for example, we literally had scripts and stuff to hide the screen effect for, you know, those settings for the longest time.
Yeah, which is fine. As long as it's getting rid of the performance issues, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the main problem we're having here. Delhi is still a problem, and it's been out for 9 decades or so, according to my watch here. Yeah.
At least a few years, yeah.
It's been out for way too long for it to be performing the way that it does, I think. Streamers quitting. Ziz released a video on this talking about it and how he was very sad to see them go. But he's talking about Burnout for content creators, including like SOMAYD, the French streamer, who's quitting. Not just Path of Exile, but also streaming. So that's cool. Kind of sucks a lot. I watch that guy pretty frequently, I would say. Like when I wake up, he'll be live because he's on the other side of the world. Really entertaining guy, but I kind of wish him the best, you know? Like, he already had a degree to fall back on from college and such, so should work out for him.
I didn't really watch him much, but I kind of agreed a lot with Rise Cutie's take on it. That's kind of where I watched it. I didn't watch Ziz's. I do kind of think it's just like Burnout, and he'll be back in like, I don't know, 3 months, a year at most, probably. But I mean, maybe he just does, you know, I mean, obviously once you get another job, then it's like, well, why would I quit my job just to play the game more and go back to streaming and stuff like that? And going back to streaming after a long break is really hard. Everybody forgets about you. So I don't know that he'll go back to streaming, but playing the game, probably 3 months to a year. I expect him to come back and start playing the game again. Yeah,
and even like he may not be streaming full time or anything, but even with a normal job, he may still end up streaming like, you know, once a week or once every other week or something like that. You know what I mean? I just
just hit it up on the weekend.
We're losing content creators due to the game being so burnoutable on, I suppose, isn't wonderful, including myself. I'm not going to stop creating content, but the game is really hard to enjoy for me in this exact meta at the moment.
Well, I mean, I don't want to sound like a dick, but at the same time, it doesn't matter.
That's
like,
true.
Does that make sense? Because there's so many people who want to make content that somebody leaving doesn't create like a void. Like, you know, like those viewers will find somewhere else to go, and they'll find enjoyments from someone else, hopefully.
Yeah. But once again, it's mostly about the principle that the game is so, like, there's almost nothing. There are things to do. Arguably, there are things to do. Yes, you can go and put Delhi on and, you know, farm for a crazy build that's not, again, that's against the meta and all that. But for people who create content and play the game like 10 hours a day, there's not a lot to do. Whereas for more casual players, there's a lot to do. Does that make sense?
Well, that's how it gets in every game, though. Like, even the best games, like, once you get to the end game and you're actually good at it, it's like, okay, what do I do? A Mythic 29? Like, okay, that can be cool with the boys, you know? But it's at some point, it's the same thing you've been doing.
Well, that's the only endless progression system in WoW, right? But it's like Delve for PoE, but Delve is wildly less enjoyable because you can't do it with the boys. You have to delve solo or you're actually fucking inting.
True.
Like, you are literally failing and losing soul fight actively, intentionally, by playing
Speaking
with other
of, sorry, I keep interrupting you. I just, like, have things popping in my head. I really, really want them to decouple the end games and let each end game be its own end game.
That would be
Like
insane.
Delve without Sulfite from maps, or
Dude.
like whatever, right?
Or maps, or Alva temples, or like, oh my god, they could do so much.
We don't have to go everywhere with it, right? Like the
Yeah.
Alva temples probably make sense in maps because you're
Maybe,
like
yeah. I guess so. You
you're
have to
editing
find
the
them.
past from the present day and stuff, but like
Just the first thing
having
that popped
Delve
in
be
my
its own endgame, having Heist be its own game, you don't need to get markers from you know, that they can rework that pretty easily. Just like have it be completely separate, I think that would be really cool. And then obviously like expanding into Harbingers, because I like Harbingers, that would be a cool idea. But
I do think Delve would be a very, very, very good idea for an end game where it's a lot like the Endless Delve, but not the Endless Delve. Like you can still share an economy, maybe, where it's not like a whole separate thing that has to be regulated, like a whole separate league that has to be regulated and such. But I don't know. I feel like they could definitely add some more end games that are completely different alternatives that change the way that the game functions at the moment, which is unenjoyable for the majority of people I've spoken to.
I definitely think the economies should stay shared, and that should be like your specialization. Like you're, because that is how it is now, right? Like you delve deep, or at least previously you delve deep, and you would get your fractured fossils and stuff like that, and you would put those in the economy, and that kind of made the world go around because everybody needed them. And so yeah, I think keeping the economy attached would be the right play.
I agree. Yeah, because it's going to be more specialized. Like it would accomplish the goal that they seem like they were trying to accomplish this time by saying go to this zone to do this thing in maps, but it would add a whole nother fucking layer where it's not unenjoyable to have to do one thing to be able to do a different thing.
And imagine if they added like a version of the Maven for Delve, for Heist. Like that could get real cool and real spicy.
That would be insane. Yeah, like you can fight, you know, All, and I only ever remember All's name. The lich guy, and then the little red dudes. You could fight all four of those bosses at once for like a specific Maven invitation. That would be pretty neat. I don't know. There's a lot of shit that they could definitely do with it.
Or just at least like passives, right? Like you have for the Atlas. Like you could do that for Delve, you could do that for the other one, and maybe this league you end up farming fractured fossils because fractured fossils are back, or you end up farming the other really rare one that I never remember the name of.
Bloodstained. Bloodstained is rare. Faceted is recently rare. That's the gem one. Pretty nice. I don't know. Delving is. I was going delving earlier on my character in standard just for fun. It was I do find it enjoyable, but the playstyle is not for everybody. Whereas if they tuned it a bit and made it to where it could be a viable end game, I can see that they could do a lot with it. Having whole different cities that they could work on, things like that, similar to the Axe. Maybe make a leveling zone throughout Delve where you're like, okay,
that
Act
would
9
be
to 10,
sick
you don't
as
have to
shit.
do Act 10. You can level by like upgrading your light radius and like going through and finding. I don't know. They could do a bunch of cool shit. They're just falling off, I think.
I think that's part of why they didn't do it in the first place, though. I think they didn't want everybody to be like, okay, let's go Delve to level instead of do like Kitava.
But it's so sick. It's so cool. Like, why? Why wouldn't you want to do that? Delve is actually so nice. Delve is actually so nice, man. I don't know. I can see that they could expand upon that quite a lot, and then you would have more than 5 people streaming it to the end game every league. Like,
I do think the rework on the drops, it was actually pretty impactful, though.
I went delving to like 150, I think, this league so far. I haven't like done a whole lot of it, but I have noticed that there's been some significant increases in drops. And when there's not increases in drops, there's an increase in quantity of loot. There's more boxes to click on the nodes where like currency would be there. You wouldn't just get one chest every time. You can spawn up to like 8. You get a bunch more small bubblegum currencies.
Yeah, I really
like those have got rarer too. Like alchemies feel a little bit rarer than they have been in the past.
Do they? I think you just started hiding them sooner.
So no, they're still on my filter.
Interesting. Like, so you're just being like actual drops? Because my stash tab has been flooded with them the entire league.
Oh, maybe I'm bad. I don't know. Same thing with maps. We've just had completely different experiences. What's going on? Okay, wait. Hear me out. Let's put fucking our tinfoil hats on real quick. Account IDs. Yeah? Let's go Reddit real quick. Let's go complain on Reddit saying your account is better than mine, and that's why you're further ahead.
True. Yep. It's because I spent more money, too.
Yep. Speaking of...
I have more MTXs.
You know what's really ironic? I needed a soul tether on my hardcore character, which is dead now, by the way, for so long. The entire time I was playing it, in fact. And I died yesterday. And today, I was mapping. I was on, like, my 10th map of the day, and I dropped a fucking soul tether on softcore. It's amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've only
my-
seen one soul tether this league, no lie.
They did say they were gonna rework the rares dropping, right? And how they were gonna have slightly more impactful mods, and there would be less of them. But I feel like there's the same amount with the same mods.
Well, I don't think that's this league. I would have to go find the patch notes, but I'm pretty sure that's just like a design goal that they're going to do at some point. I don't think it's in the game yet.
Okay.
Because they know it's a problem. We know it's a problem. I mean, look, when I do an ultimatum and I have fucking, what is it, like 500 fucking items drop on the ground, and they're all bad? Like, just show me one and have it be good or something, man. Fuck off.
I like what Last Epoch has been doing. I heard that like there's specific items that like the tier of that item can only drop. You cannot craft it. So like I think they might be able to do that with like T1 mods or T1 plus mods or something, where an item can drop with like, you know, say 110 life instead of 100 or 99 or whatever the max would be, right, on that specific item. But it can have like an extra tier, and if you don't change that mod, it will stay that mod. Whereas if you decide to craft on that item, you lose that mod being of that tier. You know what I mean? So you could use like a lot more meta crafting, things like that. I feel like that's another thing they could add for a bit of a spice, you know?
I like the way that Last Epoch has it right now, but to my knowledge, like everybody who's played a lot of Last Epoch that I've talked to has said that that's just because it hasn't been implemented yet. Like you will be able to craft the best items eventually.
Right,
it's just like how it is currently. No, I mean like you can create the best item if you have enough like luck on the instability. For example, you just put in the runes until it's like the max item basically. It's
Gotcha.
like my idea, or what people have told me, rather. It doesn't mean they're right, doesn't mean that's what they're going to do. I do like the current way where the best one drops, and then you can, you know, yeah.
That's fair. Another problem I've had is armor scraps. I took them off my filter a long time ago. I feel like they could implement a way for the end game to have those. Because when I have 17 headhunters in my stash and, you know, 1 million at series reflections, and I get a new piece of gear and I'm like, let me just get some quality on this. Fuck, I don't have any armor scraps. Let me go buy 20 on the trade site for 5C. I feel like that's kind of silly. I feel like there could be a it's one of the main currencies that does not have a vendor recipe, or you cannot buy it from vendors. I hate it.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like it because if you're SSF, you need to be self-sufficient anyway, so you have to pick it up, right? And if you're not, then what is the point in anybody picking them up if it's on Trade League and everybody picks them up? You know what I mean?
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to have to... Well, on SSF, there was no problem because I kept them on there because I need the scrolls and all of that. But on Trade League, if I have all of these crazy high-tier items, I feel like picking up armor scraps isn't worth my time. And
exactly, so somebody else is, and you're trading them because they're willing to do the work that you're not. So they benefit from it.
I suppose it does add another layer to the economy, or alternatively, they could just add, you know, 1 orb of alchemy buys you 4 armor scraps. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like they could add a...
I'd be okay with that too, but...
Yeah, I don't know. Some solution. It's one thing I noticed recently.
It is kind of weird that there's, like... I don't know that it's the only one for sure, but it is kind of weird that it wouldn't be consistent across the board where you can buy all of them from the vendor at, like, a worse rate or something.
Right. I don't know. I noticed that it was just... I just noticed that, like, when I started SSF, that there's no armor scraps at a vendor. And now I'm like, damn. What am I supposed to do in SSF when I'm out of them? Which I also noticed I constantly had a shortage when I was upgrading items, even though I was picking up all of them.
I actually never knew that was the thing, to be honest, so...
I never thought about it until very recently. Yeah, no, you can't buy... Oh, whoops, I just timed him out. Whoops. Whoa.
No.
You
The power's
can't buy
gone to
armor
his head. He
scraps.
got a podcast, and now he's just banning everybody, guys.
Get banned, dude. No, that was an accident. You can't buy armor scraps, and it's tilting me. All right, so next. Are we bored of Ultimatum?
I'm not. I'm actually quite enjoying it. I've been doing white maps on my new build that I'm leveling, and I do kind of see where some people were thinking that it was really, really unrewarding. Because in white maps, so it's nice because it gives me the 4 chaos for the Harbinger every time that I put on my map device because I'm in Valdez Rest. But other than the 4 chaos, I kind of just don't get shit.
I think I am not bored of the League mechanic. I am bored with having nothing to strive for anymore because it's all about farming and making good gear instead of getting to harder and harder content in the game. That's the position that I'm in at the moment. It doesn't feel like, I feel like pushing a build to 100% deli and then making that easier and easier is really, really what I am usually going for the last 2 leagues when I played. And now that that's gone in the way that it is, where I would have to spend a significant amount of time crafting those maps over and over again, I feel as if I don't want to make a build that can do that because it doesn't matter to me.
I agree with the 100% deli, but supposedly the 8 exalt ones are pretty worth it. Because it's like 3 minutes of your time, you get half an X or more, depending on the ratio and which one, you know, if you're willing to do the attackers or the stone circles or whatever. But apparently there's like a decent profit margin versus time spent, and apparently it's rather hard. I haven't done them yet, but I will at some point. I don't know. I do kind of wish we still had 100% deli, but if that's true about the 8 exalt ultimatums, and then there's the risk on top of that, I do kind of like that compared to 100% deli, because it also doesn't destroy my PC.
The inscribed ultimatums, I have done one. They are tough, and I did fail it. My character was also very weak. This was on like day 3. It was tough, but it wasn't deli tough. I was still able to kill monsters pretty cheesily on a very shit build. After funneling all of my currency into other people, I was still able to kill most things. I just died because I played bad and didn't know what the mechanics were at the time. But I do like the fact that they had the extra mods on there, all of the new ones in the ultimatum. Like the choking miasma was like just chasing my ass around the whole fucking area. It's terrifying.
Was that the 8x one though, or was that 1x? Because I did 1x and 1x was really easy.
It wasn't even 1x. I don't remember what it was. It was like alts, I think, at the time. I think it was like a 40 alt one.
Okay, supposedly they scale with the reward. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I haven't done enough of them, you know.
I actually wouldn't know. Yeah, choking miasma is easy. It was just it's cool to have things like that where you can actually see it, as opposed to deli where you can't see anything mechanic based because it's all gray fog.
It does get a little sketchy though when you're penance brand and you have 3 explosions and you're exploding the entire room. You know, visual clarity kind of goes out the window at that point, but I think as like a standalone, the mechanic is decent enough. It is a bit red on red for some mechanics. That's why I don't like Blade Dance, or is it Blade Dance?
Razor Dance.
Razor Dance. I keep doing this. But yeah, Razor Dance is kind of hard to see because it's red, and like yes, it spins and it does have like a black outline, so you can see it if you really look for it, but some of the mechanics being like red on red, like and then also the lightning circles are like red circles and stuff like that. It's like we could have, you know, lightning's blue-ish in this game. We could have made that blue-ish something.
Well, a good friend of mine once told me by the name of BeaniesbroPoE YT on YouTube. Check that content out. He told me that you can turn on a specific color setting on your monitor.
Yes, digital vibrance. It started hurting my eyes though. Especially with this League mechanic in particular, I have a red light sensitivity, so I had to turn it off. It was actually giving me killer migraines.
If you're having problems seeing any mechanics, it will turn the game from sort of grayed out to very vibrant, and then you can find a balance between, it starts at 50% on most PCs, that way you're at least looking at colors. You can turn it up to like 70, test out the colors on that, kind of see like what it looks like to you. You don't want to get headaches, like Beanies has mentioned. That happened to me as well when I turned it up to 100. The shit is fucking crazy, very colorful. It's like putting a multiplier on the color of grass outside. It's insane. The shit is bright. Everything turns neon, but you can see mechanics. So if you're having a hard time with that, maybe play around with the digital vibrance. It's under NVIDIA control panels settings.
Yeah, I had to do that back in WoW when everything was purple on purple on purple.
Purple on purple on purple on purple on purple. You ever fought in a Zoth, by the way? That shit's fun.
I did. Oh, I got US 155.
Let's go. I did not.
Pretty decent.
Pretty decent.
Considering our fire mage always sat in the red circles, so, you know.
Let's go, dude. You gotta press the combust. I'm combusting.
It's alright though, our healers were actually big dig. Our healers just carried it, so.
Big. Okay. Builds. How has your Toxic Rain into Cock Discharge Raider been going, my friend?
It's not. I mean, it's still Toxic Rain.
Yeah.
So the thing about me is that I always play my builds for level 100. So for now, I need to finish my Headhunter grind on my Penance brand, which I'm turning into Storm brand. After I get my Headhunter, because I'm about 50x away-ish, something a bit less because I have a bunch of stuff to sell. But once I get my Headhunter, then I will play my Cast on Crit Discharger, because Bisco's works for it, but honestly, after looking at the budget version, I kind of feel like it needs to just be a Headhunter build.
Probably. I wouldn't know, but have plug and play with a Headhunter. That's usually how it works, unless you're a minion build and then you're just trolling yourself anyways. So
I will try and make a non-Headhunter version, because obviously not everybody's gonna have a Headhunter.
Farming that YouTube content.
Especially this league. What's that?
Farming that YouTube content, BeaniesbroPoE on
yeah,
YouTube,
that
by the way,
too.
guys.
I released the build guide for the Headhunter version, then a separate build guide for the non-Headhunter version, then a separate build guide for the budget version.
Yep.
All three
videos. Are going
videos.
to bitch under your Headhunter version that you don't have a budget version there.
Exactly.
And I can't believe you. Why are you assuming that I play to be rich? You're terrible and rude and horrible.
Yep, for sure.
So anyways, now that rant's over.
The budget version is actually more budget than I thought it would be. It's like the chest is 10x, which, like, don't get me wrong, that's not super budget. But everything else is like 2 chaos. Like the next most expensive thing is like a 15 chaos Start of Hope. You need a large Start of Hope.
What chest are you using?
Frenzy charge on hit with the attack crit.
So you don't need those to play the build. They're just very good.
Because you need to hit 100% attack crit, and scaling off of just global crit is really fucking hard.
Why wouldn't you get power charge on hit instead, so that you can have the crit?
Because we have power charge on crit support. And we need more frenzy charges, because most of the charges for this build are on kill, which is, I mean, it's good for clear, but I want to be able to kill bosses too, right?
Yeah, every now and again, killing a boss is kind of important. Yeah, it's about
I'm also gonna play. Yeah, I'm also gonna play around with Malachi's loot. I am a little bit worried about Malachi's loot making me lose power charges all the time. That's why it's not on the budget version yet.
We shall see. It's one of the things you're gonna have to test with it. Sounds like an exciting build, though. I don't think I've ever seen anybody play a Discharge build at all, much less a Cock version, much less a Raider version. I figured if somebody was going to play Discharge, figured if they were going to do Discharge, it would be like an Inquisitor or a Witch Elementalist or something. I don't know. It's kind of
Badger
crazy.
is actually doing. This is Badger. He's obviously one of the bigger streamers. He is doing kind of like what my idea was in the previous league, where you use the jewel to override the internal cooldown on a trigger, so you can have a 6-link discharge and then force it to trigger with something else. Mine was just tapping Cyclone again, which felt kind of bad. But he's doing an Inquisitor, I believe, and I was going to do an Elementalist, and then I just kind of said whatever. But then this league, I was like, you know, it would be pretty good to be a Raider this league. And if I can make it do good damage, true. If I can make it do good damage, then it'll be fun.
Permanent onslaught, permanent phasing, permanent anything. Insane. I love it.
And the exposure is pretty good too.
And the exposure.
You were pretty close to it. It is about the radius of Flesh and Stone. It's not like super full screen, but it is like sizable.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. I'm glad that it's going to work out for the nearby enemies.
Yeah,
the non-nearby enemies.
And the Threshold Jewel reduces the radius by a good bit, so it's actually probably larger than the Discharge, which is all that matters, really.
Yeah, I agree. I am still playing my Wander. I've been changing the tree since I started it because it's too rippy for me. I like playing really strong builds that don't die because that's how in-game builds usually are. Except mine is very strong and it's still dying. And I'm trying to find, just been working on finding a balance in POB and in-game, like what feels the best. Going full block with every block node felt like trash because I wasn't doing enough damage. Going full damage felt like trash because I wasn't blocking at all. It's a balance I'm trying to find, you feel me?
I'm gonna keep it real with you without flaming you. maybe not standing inside 3 Sparky Boys exploding would help you live a bit more. You did not die that time. I will give you that. But I'm just saying the idea behind your playstyle is not very safe. No, you do not play very safe.
I was talking to chat. Okay, listen, man. Let me just talk to chat how I need to talk to chat. You feel me?
I just, I'm just saying.
Unbelievable, dude.
You don't. I'm just saying, you could be shooting things while you're walking into them, and you walk into them and then shoot them. It's just like, it's small differences that make you a lot safer as a range build.
Almost everything that has killed me is a one-shot, which is why I don't play safe, because I died on the tankiest character I have ever seen from a one-shot by a level 75 monster in an area with no mods. That was my hardcore solo self-found character. Full fortify effect. Only thing I was missing was the crushed helm. Okay? All endurance charges up. Flasks up. I was taking a look at a sick fucking synthesized chest piece. 5% of damage taken from mana before life. And I wanted to make a mom build as my next build. I was like, damn, this is crazy. Let my Herald of Purities, little 4 boys, whoop this one rare's ass. One enemy on my screen visible. Let them whoop his ass real quick while I'm taking a look at the synthesized chest piece that looks pretty crazy. It's going to be good for the next build after I die. He turns around and one-shots me instantly. Level 75 enemy. I'm level 90. Full fortify effect. Every defensive node on the tree. 7k life. Full endurance charges at the moment because I just used Enduring Cry. Flasks were up. I'm dead. I'm mad. That's why I don't play safe. I don't give a shit about fucking Sparky Boys if I'm going to die anyways.
Well, look, here's the thing, right? Nope. Like, I get what you mean, but going, fuck it, I'm gonna die anyway, isn't gonna make you die less. Does that make sense?
That's facts. That's facts. I'm getting
roasted right that's now. Also why I dislike hardcore. Personally, like, that's why I don't play hardcore anymore. The game has just become so easy to die for no good reason. What was it? Cyrus Influence was a great example. I was like, yep, glad I don't play fucking hardcore, boys.
Yep.
All the rip clips of people just getting one shot off screen. It's like, yeah, okay, bro.
It was great. It was great. Yeah. That was the only time I've ever even been close to dying. But on that character, by the way. I had proc adrenaline, which is when you fall below 25%, one time on that character. Once. Uno. One time. The entire time. Almost level 91. And then I just get one shot by some random fucking mob with like 2 damage auras.
I do think it adds some value to hardcore though, because it is like the ultimate fuck you.
Yeah.
It's like, fuck you, video game. I hit 100 in hardcore. Like, imagine being able to say that after Betrayal League.
True.
That's actually something I would respect.
That's facts. That's the builds that I'm currently working on. I'm going to be playing an Arc Totem mom build in hardcore solo self-found. The same solo self-found, arguably, from my last character, to keep the mom build like viable so that I can just start with it with the old stuff that I found on my other character. But yeah, I'll be streaming that soon. I don't know. It's kind of... I'm excited for it. It's just going to be a bitch to level because I don't get arc for a minute, you know, and I can't wear a lot of the uniques that are really good for totem builds until I'm a higher level, and I can't get to a higher level quickly because I'm in hardcore. So it all kind of...
You should still be able to level it as a spell slinger, like relatively close to the tree that you're going to use, I would say.
I mean, I'm leveling it quickly. The problem isn't leveling it. The problem is like getting to where it's strong enough and tanky enough, because I don't have enough like levels for the rares or for the uniques that give me the mana to be tanky with Mom and Agnostic, so I can't spec towards that just yet.
Yeah, you just don't take Mom early, right?
No, you don't take Mom early. I take Mom ASAP. I'd gun straight for it, dude. Give me that 20 mana.
Question mark?
That 20 mana is going to protect my life. Okay?
I mean, listen, it's going to feel real bad to level.
Nope. False. Fake news. I'm
leveling with Mom is really bad.
I literally pathed to Mom, and now I have 20 skill points just chilling. Haven't done anything with them.
Okay, all right.
It's amazing.
Well,
I'm punching enemies. Every enemy. They're all dead. I'm in the Imperial Fields right now, Imperial Gardens. Fucking them up with these fists, dude. Making them catch these Inquisitor-ass hands. Speaking of the Inquisitor, if you guys look at him and you're running forward straight north, he straight up walks like he has shit in a diaper.
Yes.
His legs are so spread, and he's like trying to fucking waddle, keeping his cheeks clenched.
Honestly, it's kind of great, though.
It's hilarious. It's amazing, and if you've never paid attention to it, go make a character and walk through the Twilight Strand and watch him like fucking waddle like he has shit in his britches, okay? It's amazing. Okay, he's turtle-heading, for sure. At least. Minimum. Dude has a problem. He's already a giraffe. neck fucking
Yeah,
9 feet
whoever made
long.
the Inquisitor model
His neck
is a
is
great
like way
person.
up here. Unbelievable, dude.
Long neck, weird at walking, you know?
Yeah. Poopy britches. Kale Poopy britches. That's my next Inquisitor's name, dude. I got poop in my ass.
But you know, you're only Act 3. Might as well just, you know, rename now. Might as well just
You're
delete
hilarious.
the character.
I could just put in a ticket and say, please rename this character.
You could just delete the character and not waste somebody's time.
Waste 2 hours of my time or 2 minutes of an admin's.
Yeah, but the admins are great people who don't deserve to have their time wasted because you came up with great
they're getting
after
paid
you made
for
the character.
That's their job, is to rename people's characters and solve problems. And this is a problem I'm having. So they're going to hit 2 birds with 1 stone, and they'll feel accomplished and happy and fulfilled. That's why they took the job. You don't get paid to do something that you don't feel fulfilling to do. You quit if you don't feel fulfilled, hopefully.
Unless you
really need the
need
job.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, when I worked at Walmart, it wasn't exactly fulfilling, but fuck it, dude. Get that bread, get that head, and leave. Okay? That's the way she goes. What cup is that?
It's just a red cup. It says
it's very bright compared to everything else. The color
is stay calm and move on.
It contrasts everything around you on your camera. Just hold it up and look at your camera. It literally contrasts everything so hard. It contrasts so hard.
It is very red. You're not wrong.
Incredible. Incredible. Oh my gosh, dude.
It's a great cup though. It doesn't go in the microwave well. Like, you know how some cups
Ceramic.
just don't microwave well? Yeah.
Yeah. It happens.
It's pretty unfortunate.
Fracture nerfs. Are they more or less impactful than you thought they were going to be at this point in the league?
Fracture nerfs less impactful, I guess, right? Like, I thought it was going to be completely dead. I'm still willing to fracture even like a shitty map once in a while because they're relatively cheap, and then I don't have to do it again, and then, you know, I get the value because I have all my deli orbs on it if I'm doing 100% deli. Now I kind of just do 20% deli, so in that regard, it is kind of dead. I don't know. And then as far as harvest, it is, I think it's partially on community perception is why it's so dead. I think there's still a lot of value in harvest, and there is, like, multiple people have made many exalts through harvest crafting. But without like a community to buy from, you kind of have to do it all yourself, which is really toxic because they're really rare.
That or now it's very expensive and lucrative for people who get like just harvest farming. I was paying 1x, which is 160C at the time, for every reroll keeping prefixes or suffixes, which were 40C last league.
How many of those were you finding though? Because I literally like I know 2. Yeah, I was gonna say I know 2 people who have been doing harvest almost religiously, and they find one like in a blue moon, and it's like, great, you found that, you might as well get an extra drop. Like, that's the rate.
Yeah it's very rare and it sucks. I don't like it. I don't like not being able to craft items very efficiently without essences. It feels way more like confined to like the old crafting methods that have already been in the game for a long time, whereas harvest is one of the newest crafting methods. And then they killed the Malvin orb, so it's kind of terrible. Like, they didn't kill it, but it's not. Bring it back. Please bring the power back, GGG.
I don't know. I think crafting is way healthier now. You're using fossils, you're using essences, you're using meta mods, you're using like everything essentially, which is what I like. Even though, I mean, I don't craft that much. It's not how I like to play the game. But if I were going to craft, I would prefer that way more than, okay, I use this harvest craft. 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 Like, at some point, I just don't want to fucking go into harvest, man.
Yeah, but you're using those harvest crafts to work towards a goal, whereas all of the other crafting methods are luck-based. And you either get lucky and get ahead, or don't get lucky and don't get ahead.
Yeah, I would be a fan of making it not necessarily fully deterministic like last epoch, but some kind of middle ground, like where it's still sort of lucky, but it's a lot easier. Like, I think essences are in a good spot right now, for example. It's like most mods, if you're doing essence crafting right and using veil mods and stuff, is like 40, you know, maybe the really hard ones are 200, which I think is on the high end. Like, it shouldn't be that high, but I think like 40 tries to hit something, that's okay. 200 plus tries for the best method, that's, you know, that's a bit much.
Yeah, I can agree. I feel like getting lucky to hit 2 T1 mods that you need with an essence and then have 3 possible dead mods kind of sucks, whereas you can't deterministically do anything about that unless you need all prefixes or all suffixes, and then you can like target it and do a bunch of crafting that way. But having something deterministic, I think you're right. Like hitting a fine balance between what Last Epoch is now and what PoE is now would be optimal, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, because I also don't want it to go... I don't want to go full D3. I don't want to go full Last Epoch. I really do want... Which is kind of what Last Epoch's trying to do. It's trying to be the in-between between D3 and PoE. And in some ways, I like what they're doing. In some ways, I think they have a long way to go.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think PoE is a little high on the RNG end. And I feel like D3 is like way too high on the RNG end. And Last Epoch is closer to where I'd like to be, but it's a little too easy. Like, make it a little bit harder than Last Epoch.
Make it a little bit harder than Make Last Epoch a little bit harder than Last Epoch?
Make PoE, like, harder than Last Epoch as far as getting the mods and stuff that you want. But don't make it 200 to get one mod with the best method. If you're using a shitty method, fine. 200 is fine.
Spam
if you're using the best method, if you're using the best method, it should be like 50 at most IMO.
Most. That is a lot of effort, especially considering there's no in-game trading for harvest crafts or for essences or for fossils or for any fucking thing. Have to use a fucking website. Unbelievable. Actually unbelievable. Give me a forum board. I'd rather trade on the fucking board in-game that you have to go click on.
I think that's a bit of... maybe. I do really, really, really want something... Not necessarily... It doesn't have to be an auction house, right? Like the Korean MMOs that have like shops in hubs. I would be okay with that, even though it makes the hubs kind of like fucking... You literally just see like a tent here, a tent there, a tent, a tent, a tent, a tent. You don't actually see the city. But... like that, or like a Dropbox, you could have like not a guild stash, but like a trade stash in each hub, and that wouldn't be too cluttery. And then you could like search for things that people have up for sale there, and then just take it out and your currency goes in. That would be great. I would love that. Anything really would be better than what we have, I think.
Literally, they could do anything within the game, and I feel as if it would be an upgrade, It doesn't have to be WoW's auction house, right? It doesn't have to be like where it's so organized and so well put together. It can be like type in essence of blank, and then you have to sort through all of the fucking essences that you have to buy. And then, you know, it could take some effort, but don't make me go to a website. Don't make me go to a Discord. I don't know. It's frustrating to me still.
Well, and what I dislike about what they've said before is that they somehow find value in whispering people and bartering, quote unquote. Like, when do you barter? Have you ever
Nobody
bartered
uses
for
negotiable price? Yeah.
Exactly.
One guy got mad at me because I accidentally listed it negotiable price, and I had like a 90x item listed, and he was like 50x, and I said no, it's listed for 90, and he was like, well, don't set it in negotiable then. And I'm like, well, you're not even fucking bargaining. You wanted a half off, you goober. What is going on here, dude?
Yeah, it's like, and like if you do post it negotiable, okay, that's one thing. Like, yeah, you probably are bartering a little, but I would put that at like 1% or less of players are actually willing to barter on items.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that there's value in keeping communication open between players and requiring that to trade, but at least give me something in game. If I have to wait for somebody to be online, that's fine because it's worked so far. However, if they list an item, let me buy it within the game, from them within the game, and let me message them if I would like to say, hey, would you take this price instead? I don't care. Just do something.
Yeah, I'm not saying disable whispering, right? And you can have like their name when you hover over an item if you want to whisper them and try and get a better deal or something and do like a manual trade, but 99.9% of trades are not bartered. They are, I put this thing up for this price, you buy it or you don't. And so at that point, we might as well have like a stash to just put things in, and then people come and get them, or whatever system you want to put in for that.
Yeah. If you are taking one exact price for one exact item, and you're saying this is selling for a mirror right now, and I will not take anything less, and I will not be bartered towards more, I guess, then let it sell for a mirror, even if I'm offline or busy or doing something else. Like, it doesn't... give them the item, because obviously they need it more than I do. I have it for sale, and give me the currency so that I can do this more to initiate more trades within the system, within the game. I don't know. I feel like it might be beneficial towards the game.
I think the only reason why they're scared of that is because it creates value for people who don't have as much time. So I think they're worried about. Well, I agree in some sense, but at the same time, it kind of promotes RMT because more people are able to do it, and also doing it will jumpstart you a lot faster because then you will have a massive return after spending, say, $50 on exiles.
I don't really think about things in terms of IRL economy being brought into the game. However, I think if it has an adverse effect on that, maybe they could find a workaround. But either way, I feel like they could find a good balance between what they have now and something like WoW's Auction House, where you can just buy things in game. The gold gets sent to the person, and the item gets sent to you instantly.
Yeah, and I mean, theoretically, like, the economy would adjust around it like most healthy economies do generally. But that's the only, like, reason that I could give them for not allowing offline trading is because it essentially gives you much more time. And then once you're in game, you would probably not trade at all because all of your trading can be done while you're offline.
Yeah. So for testing on standard, I don't know if you've done any gameplay on standard this league so far. Just wanting a break from the league. I got on a few times so far. Today was the main time where I felt like kind of compelled, like it would be kind of fun to work on my other characters that I've played before and see what I missed maybe throughout the experience that I've had now, and see if there's ways that I could doctor my old builds and see if I can make them feel better, more enjoyable to play, and more fun. See, you know, maybe they give me ideas towards other things to play in this league and work towards. So I got on my Aura Stacker and I was like looking around, like this build, they really killed Aura Stacking really hard. It's still strong, but it is not as tanky as it ever was under any circumstance. You can still have really high regen. You can have a level 30 fucking vitality. You're still not going to be super strong with the damage. I don't know. I don't like what they did with it. But
I think it's okay. As much as I do like having a build that is just like God mode. Yeah, like I for example, I really like Headhunter because Headhunter gives you something to go after, and then once you have it, you kind of shit on the game generally. But with Aura Stacking, the problem is that every Aura Stacker feels exactly the same, and then also every Aura Stacker just doesn't care about the game. And so I think they went a little bit too far. I think it should be extremely high investment. It should be like multiple mirrors for your build if it's going to be literally I cannot die and I still do insane damage and I am quick, right? Like that should be multiple mirrors, but at the same time that does kind of turn every person who plays the game for a while into, okay, I need to get to this point so I can just kind of shit on the game all league.
That's the point. It's grinding your games. You're supposed to have something to grind towards.
Yeah, but I like changing up that grind, and there's no change up in the Aura Stat grind.
Right,
the Aura Stat grind always feels exactly the same. If you have a Headhunter, you can at least have different flavors.
Yep. I think that there could be differences in Aura stacking. Recently, I've been watching Kobe Black Mamba every now and again. Every time I tune into his stream, he's doing something different. So I'm playing Exsanguinate on his Aura Stacker this league. Exsanguinate is not the ability that I ever would have thought somebody stacking auras would be playing, but it looked quite enjoyable. He's trying some self-chilling shenanigans as well while stacking auras.
Self-chill Zerker is insane.
Yeah, he's trying out a whole bunch of different things and a whole host of different things, and all of them work. He's just trying to find what he likes to play the most. So usually you would use the same abilities, but that's not to say like you're limited to those abilities. You can always just put on a bunch of auras and a spell. Any spell would work, which is why Exsanguinate was working as well as it was. The single target was actually fucking nasty, man. It was crazy to me.
Well, the problem for me is that like an Aura stacking Sparker doesn't feel any different than an Aura stacking Freezing Pulse or an Aura stacking, you know, whatever, insert X spell. They all feel the same to me. They just have a different visual. But also, I haven't played a lot of them, so I mean, you know, hot take. I've just kind of looked at people playing them.
When I played Spark, it's the least enjoyable for me because I've seen so much of it and I've consumed a lot of content because that was the meta and that's what everybody was playing. So I decided like, hey, I'm going to try out Arc And I played a lot of Arc because it's really fun and nice to look at and different. It doesn't have like a billion projectiles. It has one little beam that, pew, 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 pew. You know, you can try ethereal knives and pretty much anything. It's like plug and play. I don't know. I feel like you can. There's a lot of different things that you can accomplish with it if you just change up some links.
I don't know if I'm beating a dead horse, but like that's kind of what I mean by it's all the same. Like you can plug and play, and then it's all just like it's just a different visual. It's not a different build, you know?
I suppose the base mechanics of it never change, yeah, because you're always just stacking auras and using all of your things into that. You're not like getting, smoke mines for, blinding the enemies with this and then, setting up your slams for war cries with this and doing all of that. Yeah, you're always
Yeah, and
just
it's always going to be strong against the same kind of content and weak against the same kind of content.
That's where I disagree. I think ethereal knives and spark suck on bosses, but when I was playing Arc, all of the damage was channeled into one enemy. There's different abilities again that you can always
yeah, that's fair.
Just use against different types of content that would always work in different ways. You can also adjust your auras, so if you're fighting a boss that doesn't do any physical damage, you can get rid of determination, maybe slap in anger. That's crazy, like I don't know.
That sounds toxic at that point. I hate the swap gems meta before bosses and stuff like that.
Not the gems. You can just have different auras available because you can fit in like 30
and just like toggle them off, toggle them on. Yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah.
And that's just an option. I'm just saying, like, you can technically change things, but the build will always be fundamentally the same, yeah. I watched a clip earlier of somebody killing the Trial Master, except it was in a, Vol skills have no cooldown. And so he had this fucking, I don't even know what ability it was. It was like, it looked like Lightning Strike. I don't know if you've seen it, where it fires out in a wave, but it fired in a circle. And he put like 100 of them on the ground, and it just fucking annihilated the Trial Master instantly. And everything was hilarious to me.
I both really like the Vol abuse right now. I'm gonna call it abuse because I think it is. I mean, technically it's clever use of game mechanics, but at the same time it should get nerfed. We're on some like Herald stacking levels of power right now with the. And it costs an appropriate amount, so I'm not super mad at it. Like, the chest is 120x, the gloves are like 70x. The total kit is going to cost you over a mirror.
Lot. Yeah.
So I'm fine with that. Which, by the way, mirrors are only 196x. I don't like what is happening there.
And Headhunters seems really cheap. Cost a mirror?
Yeah.
Like, what is
I get the Headhunter. Headhunter is a lot rarer because you can't target farm it with Alva and Reliquary keys as easily, and like High Deli and stuff like that. But like mirrors just seem really cheap right now for some reason, which I don't understand. I guess mirror shards from Valdo's Rest Kings. That's the only thing I could look at.
And mirror shards from Ultimatum, but even then they're not that common. They're not common enough to bring it down by 500 fucking X. Normally the line looks like this. They start at like 100X and then they just slowly grow. And right now we would normally be at about like 350 or 400, but still at 190. They've been there for a week and a half now. It's very strange.
I think it's because you have so many people in Valdo's Rest, right? Like, if you have like 50,000 people farming them, even if one drops every 100 maps, maybe 200 maps?
Way more.
I don't know. I've done less than 200 Valdo's Rest maps and I've gotten a Mirror Shard. I could just be on the lucky end, right? I'm not saying that's like de facto scientifical average there, but if it is every 200 maps, even if it's like every 500 maps, multiply the number of maps that one person can do a day, which is like I could probably push 500 in a long day. Obviously, that's more than most people. But multiply that by like 20,000, 50,000, 60,000.
There's a lot of people, a lot of maps, yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess you get like a lot of mirror shards. I don't know.
But you can also compare it to last league, where we had better Watchstones and Harbies were also stronger. And
after the Salt nerf, though, I never saw a mirror shard, and I lived in Valdo's Rest.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So they like the loot.
I don't think it's comparable. Though. I think the King Harbies are showing more. Last league. I think the King Harbies are dropping more mirror shards. I think they're dropping less Exalti shards and less Ancient shards, but I think they're dropping more mirror shards.
I wouldn't know. I haven't spent a whole lot of time doing it. I had a really long stint of hardcore solo Snowfound, so that's my experience with it so far.
Also, we didn't have Harbinger on the map last league, so we weren't killing as many Harbingers last league. Even though we probably had a higher average last league, but the top end of the maps this league is probably higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The chance that they turn into king is much higher, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wanted to talk about alternatives to Burnout for anybody listening, because I noticed that a lot of people, including myself, are having a hard time finding joy in the game when they feel like they don't have anything to shoot for. So I was going to bring up, like, I don't know if anybody watches I mean, I know that people watch Mathel. I don't know how big the PoE community is versus people that watch Mathel. But for example, he tries out a different build and creates content for that build for like 1 or 2 days at a time and re-rolls to a completely different skill. And he doesn't play the meta abilities. He doesn't play Cyclone. He doesn't play Volatile Dead. He doesn't play Bladefall Blade Blast. He plays like random shit that doesn't make sense, like Venom Gyre. And he makes it super strong. He finds ways on the tree to make it super strong. Alternatively, that's just one thing that people could work towards. Do you have any ideas for that?
Burnout for me is always just go play SSF for a while.
That helps
sadly,
a lot as well.
sometimes I go SSF and I'm like, I really like this build, but I can't make this build happen as a first build on SSF, like with Stormbrand.
Mm-hmm.
So then I do go back to softcore really quickly because I want to play that build. But I think Soul Self-Found does a great job of making the game feel like a game instead of a trading simulator, which is a lot of what softcore feels like a lot of the time.
I agree, 100%.
So I am 100% behind SSF. Hardcore, I think you are insane, but I do kind of want to do a hardcore challenge myself, try and get to level 95 in hardcore, and kind of limit myself to like a week or something. So yeah.
I wish you luck in that. I do think, along those same lines, I think SSF is a really, really good alternative. You can find something to farm for. You can say, hey, I want, set a goal for a week and be like, I want one of every type of scarab, including winged scarabs. So you go and farm for fucking Oshabi maybe, or you go and farm for this, or you go and farm for that, or you want one of every type of currency other than maybe a mirror, and you set, goals, or you want to farm all of the flasks in the game that are unique and put those in your unique tabs. So it'll say 100%. Like there's things to do that may help you avoid burnout, aside from just getting to the end game and then rushing that. I think that might be a good alternative,
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit hypocritical, I guess, because on one hand, I do really want to push for specialization, and like I am the guy who deep delves. I am the guy who, farms Maven. I'm the guy who does this. But at the same time, there is a lot of value in doing everything yourself and going to, hey, I need this unique. This unique only drops from this boss. I'm gonna go farm this boss until I get it. So it's kind of hard to promote both at the same time, and I kind of really find a lot of value in both.
I feel like they're very bad at striking a balance. This game has been very black and white since I started playing it. Everything is either too strong, or everything is too weak, or everything is too lucrative, or nothing is lucrative enough, or everything is too specialized, or nothing is specialized enough. They struggle finding this balance that harbors a good playing experience for the most amount of players possible.
I think that's because of softcore trade. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I play SSF, I really do feel like Path of Exile is a game, and when I play softcore trade, I feel like I'm just trading currencies to get bigger currencies, to get the final items that make the game to where I can get as many of these currencies as possible and trade these currencies for other currencies, and then those currencies trade for other currencies, and then I get a lot of currencies. It's like, it's kind of exhausting. I don't care about the gear at all on softcore.
I agree. I feel like they spend a really good amount of time with like the softcore experience, saying like, hey, here's a unique tab where you can keep track of how many uniques you have, and here's a percentage of this type of unique, and here's how many you have total out of 1136 or however many there are. And then like you get to softcore trade league, and exactly, you're just farming for mirrors so that you can make more mirrors by becoming more powerful. But then when they kill the end game, it even kills that. So softcore trade league feels like it's going to just burn you out, so you don't feel the want or desire to play for that.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. I put up with it because content creation, basically. Yeah, it's like I want to make builds for off-meta builds and make videos for those, but like, I mean, Am I gonna go suffer through farming cluster jewels and rolling double cluster jewels all the time for Stormbrand and all this other stuff? Like, I'll do it at the very start of a league, and it kind of sucks at first, and then you get the double medium cluster jewels and stuff like that, and you feel good. But as far as like doing that intentionally to myself when I could play softcore trade instead and make a lot of videos, I'd just rather play softcore trade.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that aren't target farmable that are good for SSF, and there's a lot of things that are target farmable like very easily that aren't good for softcore trade. And I feel like maybe swapping some of these items around might make the game a bit more in-game friendly for both, if that makes sense.
I kind of like, I think it was Zizarin, could have been someone else, so don't quote me on this, or quote me on who it was, but basically I heard in one of the podcasts somewhere that somebody really wanted things to be like anything that's build enabling, right? Like, so for example, Holy Conquest is build enabling for brand builds.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you tell me that you enjoy playing a brand without that, you are lying.
You are actually a liar and a half, actually. Pants
and so,
for hire.
And so anything that's build enabling like that, or Shavs, because Shavs enables low life, and like, you know, other things that actually enable you to do something in a way that it doesn't feel super terrible or super troll or just not possible, that should just be target farmable on a boss. Like, this boss drops this with this percentage chance, you go there, you farm that boss. Yeah. And then anything that isn't, that just makes the build do more damage or a bit nicer, a bit more convenient, stuff like that, then you kind of just like, okay, that's just a random drop, or you have to roll it, you have to craft it, whatever.
Mm-hmm. One thing that they have consistently done very well is balancing the passive tree. I don't want to just sit here and shit on the game for over an hour. I feel like the passive tree has been a really good design, and it's very fun to explain to new players who think it's overwhelming until you realize that everything is just a travel node. But the fact that you can make your own custom build and realize how maybe this will interact with that will enable this interaction with that, and like you can do all this crazy shit, but then there's nowhere to go with any of it, is the most annoying part about this game. They've killed a lot of enjoyment in that regard.
I go both ways. I really like the passive tree because it gives you an illusion, and technically, yes, you can go anywhere on the fucking tree, but if you really have to go all the way over to Marauder from Shadow just to get to your first node, probably not a smart idea. You're probably going to want to be a Scion instead.
Probably, right. But that means that you could play a Marauder, right? But what I mean is, like, you can, if you want to build a Claw, you know, character, anything on the right side of the tree, probably viable. And you can be like, whoa, I can be an Elementalist Claw build that uses Elemental Hit. Fuck it. I don't know. Like, so you can, maybe not Elemental Hit, but you get the point. Like, you can do crazy shit. There's just not that, like, much in-game to go towards with it. I don't know. There's a lot of different in-game.
That's what I mean. Like, part of it is illusion because you know that you're going to be trolling yourself, so you don't. But at the same time, it does allow you to do it. So I think it's a step above like D2 trees where you are hard locked into this specific thing, which I also kind of like that in one way. What?
It's like tic-tac-toe. It's like advanced. It's like Connect 4, basically. Drop the points in and they land on the little nodes all the way.
And I kind of do like those. It does give an amount of simplicity, and it does give amount of what's the word? It's not uniqueness, but it's like
variability. Like, you can change it up.
No, it so D2 trees, that style of trees, like what we had in World of Warcraft back in like Wrath of the Lich King, that does give like a I really can't find the word, and the word does it so much more justice. But okay, I'm gonna go with uniqueness just to move on with the conversation. Like, a Marauder would feel a lot more like a Marauder if a Marauder always had these passes, for example.
Right.
But at the same time, I do kind of like having things a bit more open-ended, a bit more unique stuff, and you can make more builds and stuff like that. So I'm kind of just like, I don't know, I'm in the middle with that, I guess.
Yeah, I think that I'm just trying to say they struck a nice balance on being able to pick what you want and play what you want. And if you can't reach something on one character, you can create another and reach it easily and fulfill your class fantasy in that regard, or do it in a different way on a different character. There's just a lot of different versatility for all the characters. There's a lot that you can accomplish. We did just pass an hour, just so you know, or like an hour and 6 minutes.
Well, fuck you then. I'm out. See you guys next week.
Look at this dude, man.
But we
Episode
probably
4.
should call it then. I do have a lot of stuff to do. I wasn't
Okay.
paying attention at the time, so I guess that's a good
Episode
thing.
4.
Maybe this was a banger.
Yeah, this was an amazing episode. I had a lot of fun talking. Episode 4, Semantics podcast, going to be on YouTube, broken up into clips on BeaniesbroPoE, and full version uploaded on Kalecgoose YouTube. That one right there, that button. I'll be streaming it. He's been streaming a little bit. Beaniesbro YT on Twitch.tv. There's a lot of different Beanies Bros. Okay,
It'd be so great if I would just have one tag on everything and just
amazing. It'd be so incredible. However, I got it locked in. I got the memory of a fucking goldfish. It's perfect. Okay, but yeah, that was episode 4. Hope you guys enjoyed. That was a lot of fun.
Bye.
Toodles. Bye, Beanies.